Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
So excited to talk with you for this hour as though no one were listening.
Oh,
Just
I
you
love
and
it.
me.
I love it.
But I am dying to know, is anyone listening?
Yeah, someone out there is listening. This is from Sarah, and I wanted to read one of these. Might get a little emotional. But I wanted to thank all of our listeners.
Yes.
Because everyone has been so sweet about Ramona, our cat that passed away.
Oh.
And this is just like a really sweet little note that I want to acknowledge all of you. And then let's acknowledge Sarah here. Andy and Elizabeth, I just listened to the Patreon app about Ramona. I cried and laughed along with you. Thank you so much for sharing your process with us. It's such a gift, sending hugs.
Oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
It's so sweet, and I feel like we got so many messages like that.
Yeah,
and
very sweet.
And we needed it.
Yeah. Don't you hate when you have to like rely on outside affirmation? But sometimes you do. Whether that's through your podcast that you have or, I don't know, just being out in the world and striking up a conversation with the checkout clerk.
Yeah. Thirsty for affirmation.
Yes. Yeah. And it's always nice to lead with a compliment and see if you get one back. That's called fishing.
That's risky business sometimes.
It's risky biz. But thank you, Sarah. And if anyone wants to hear that episode, which was a doozy, it is at patreon.com/nobody's listening right.
Yep.
Okay, so I feel like I've been a broken record, but
you are.
Speaking of looking for affirmation and wishing I could have the inner confidence of a gentleman I sat next to at a coffee shop recently while I was there writing. Busy coffee shop.
Yeah.
People about, working and about. I wrote down what he said.
Oh, it's a verbal confidence?
Well, it's an everything confidence. First of all, I think it's because men aren't taught the propaganda of like, be small.
Sure.
That some men with their man spreading, it's just so wild.
Oh, like, with their legs, you mean?
Yes.
You're not talking about mansplaining, you're talking about man-spreading. Two different things.
Yeah, two very different things.
And let me mansplain that to everybody right now, okay?
But kind of similar. One's like psychological and one's physical. But I'm like, it almost seems like some guys, now you are not a man spreader and I really appreciate that. In fact, I find it very sexy when men, and this kind of speaks to a generational thing, but when men cross their legs.
Like the manly way or the feminine way that I do?
The more feminine way. I find very attractive in a man because it also speaks to a certain confidence. And in fact, like our son does that. And I'm like, that's cool. It also seems like artistic.
It's European.
Yes, it feels a little European.
It's also, wait, what was the term that was
Metro.
Big? Metro.
But that's such a dumb, for anyone who's not our age or older.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard that in so long.
There was a term going around called metrosexual, probably in the early aughts.
Yeah.
And that means
2000. Right? Is that right? LGBTQM.
And it's so offensive that Metro was tacked on.
It wasn't. If I'm joking, oh my God, I'm so joking. Okay. I don't think it had anything to do with that.
Thank God. But anyway, long story short, it's a stupid term basically for men who seemed maybe to have some more quote unquote more effeminate kind of qualities.
Yeah.
I've always loved that about you, how you sit. Now there are guys out there that I'm like, what is happening? Is it that their genitals are like so in between their legs, like tucked in the middle of their legs, but then how could they even walk? That they have to spread their legs basically like you're a cheerleader doing a like toe touch.
Try something. Oh, that's good. Never mind. I wanted something like gross and sexual, but that was a perfect analogy.
So first of all, this guy at this place of course, man spreading in a way, and no one was even next to him.
How
I was
are you
like,
seeing the man spread? Because isn't the man spread
I'm
under the table?
sitting on the same bench as him. It's like a long bench.
You also are always sizing up every man's genitals and looking at them. So this makes sense. Okay.
I want to actually speak to that really quickly. I know we talked about that a lot.
Talk about being a broken record.
I had a revelation recently. I just want to like clear the situation up with you.
You perv.
I'm not looking, first of all, it's not conscious. I'm not like every man I see going, huh. It's more like it's happening subconsciously.
You've explained that. It's like also, almost worse.
And it's also like almost anti-sexual. It's like scientific. The way I'd imagine, maybe you're doing the same thing with like nipples. Because you never know. And it's almost like, how right am I? Or how wrong am I?
Nipples?
You can't know.
Very rarely come into the equation for me. And when they do...
In retrospect, though, I could say, hey, remember that woman? What do you think her nipples look like? And you could pull something out based on the vibe you got. You might wonder if you were right.
Yeah, I think you could ask me any woman, and I think I would have an opinion on it.
Yes. And so,
it's not a radar, though, like yours.
It's kind of a lose-lose, though, because similarly, I can never know the truth.
Oh, sorry. So sorry.
Such a cross to bear. Okay, so this
spread
guy,
and wide.
Spread and wide.
Paint the scene, though. How is he sitting so you actually do see this? Is he on a booth or a chair?
He's in a booth bench that, like, we're all on, basically. I'm a couple tables down from him. No one could sit in the table next to him because his leg is like...
Are you on the same
taking up that
side
real
as
estate.
him, or are you
opposite? Same side. So I'm looking over. I'm working on my computer, and he's set up his computer, presumably to work. Now, this is a place a lot of people are writing or doing their whatevers, emails. He gets on a Zoom.
Whoa, in a coffee shop?
Yes. And let me tell you something. I mean, we've talked about this before because I find it wild when people take phone calls or like, let's say someone goes to have a meal by themselves and then I can see the thinking like, oh, I'm by myself.
I would have been talking to this other person if there was a partner here.
If there was a person here, now they're just calling. Well, the phone voice you use is very different.
Very different.
And also, heaven forbid you're putting that on speakerphone. That is like
we all
such
know
a different.
I just don't tolerate it.
You say something.
I say something.
Anyway, but this guy, hey, good morning, welcome back. To welcome you back, we have a whole long list of things for you to do. Like he's being this like charming manager type.
Oh God,
guy.
He is at least on AirPods, right? You don't hear the other side of the conversation.
He is on AirPods.
That really truly would be too absurd.
Wild. Anyway, I was floored, and I didn't like it at first, but then I really started to think about that kind of confidence, and like, you know what? Life's too short. Who am I? I want to stop judging people so much. Now, there are things that are kind of inconsiderate and maybe like a little bit thoughtless.
It's not, but that's not necessarily confidence.
Well, what do you think it is?
One, he has like a disorder with his balls.
No,
and two,
Andy, first of all, don't perpetuate that whole thing.
What are you talking about?
Oh, the man spreading? Oh, I thought you were saying like he's not man enough to know not to do that or something. Okay, go ahead.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't either. Go ahead.
Don't perpetuate. I'm curious to get in your head right now. What do you mean? I said he had a disorder with his balls. Meaning like they were so large or something weird that he had to sit like that.
Well, I've been to like social events with people where, in a like theater where someone next to me, I'm like, it is taking effort for you to infringe upon my leg space like this.
But go back to your head. I want to be in your head space. Why I want to know your reaction? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, what I thought you were going to say is that basically like kind of the opposite thing of confidence is like this guy isn't man enough to recognize that he's being kind of a tool. So he has a disorder with his balls because he's not man enough. Okay, I understand.
No, I know you understand me,
No.
but I'm trying to understand you because you reacted in a way like I was perpetuating this thing, and I just can't follow any thread of your logic here. That's why I'm so confused.
The thing that I didn't wanted perpetuated is that this idea of having grow some balls, have some balls is like man up.
Okay.
I understand
Sure. Yeah, okay.
that it's confusing and it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
And that's why I don't really want to.
But anyways, I'm saying I was making, let's take his balls out of this for a second. We'll circle back to the man spread. Just doing a Zoom in a coffee shop, maybe confidence, but maybe just a total lack of social etiquette and just being a dipshit. Like, it really might not he might be the least confident guy on the block, is what I'm saying.
I know, but where my mind went, and I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to, like, dig down about 5 layers deeper than I normally would when I'm looking at my own reactions to things and what that says about me, because I'm the only thing I can control out in this world. We actually were talking about that recently. You were talking about a reaction someone had, and you were so blown away by it. And I was like, you are proceeding through life with the assumption that everyone has the same, like, logic, reasoning skills, whatever.
Yeah.
And yes, maybe he's oblivious. I mean, honestly, that's best case scenario, is he's just oblivious. What causes people to be oblivious? You know, we can't assume everyone's been given or not given the same exact tools we've had growing up or not. Like, I'm sure there are a million things that we do that someone else who, like, was raised in a different way is like, why are they doing that?
Yeah, sure.
So that is to say, everything, there's like cause and effect for everything.
Yeah.
And thinking that way helps me have a little bit more compassion. And also just, again, oh my gosh, it ties back to what does someone's dick look like? It's like, it helps me look at things objectively, almost through a scientific lens. Like, wow, that's an interesting choice.
For dicks, the dick that God gave them?
No, I'm saying that's a scientific thing. I'm looking at something really objectively and removing my emotions from it. When I look at this guy, my initial reaction was very strong. But when I started to, like, really dig deeper and think about it, I was like, there's a reason for him being this way. I wonder what that is. And it takes my emotions out of it. It's like, wow,
you had more of
this guy, like, I'm sure, you know, you ask 90 people or 100 people and 95 of them are going to be like, no, I wouldn't get on a Zoom.
Yeah.
And maybe he was desperate, but here's the thing. He was speaking with a confidence and, like, as though he was in his own
his own space.
Office.
Yeah.
And then that brings up maybe he's used to working in, like, a co-working space, but I'm sure there's etiquette there.
I love your curiosity because sometimes I feel like you don't have the almost time for the curiosity.
Sure.
Sometimes I'm kind of pulling you to be curious with stuff with me, and you maybe don't have the time. So this is a great development I like for you. I also think it's a bit of a hack and a fun way for taking some of these more uncomfortable moments. My hack for these uncomfortable moments is that I then get to bitch about them later and be self-righteous about it. That's my hack.
Yes.
So as much as you're upsetting me in the moment, you're also giving me this beautiful snack to have later to bitch about it.
I'm starting to panic a little bit that of course is going to get back to that guy. Can you bleep?
Well, can I say something?
Can you bleep the person's name I said? Because that was like a verbatim quote, please.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's funny. I had something happen in the grocery store that I want to tell you, but I'm like, it's going to get back to the guy.
Oh, yeah.
But I do want to tell you because it's the same. This is a crazy confidence to me. I am with the kids in the grocery store. I come around a bend. I see this guy. We almost like knock into each other.
Oh.
And then I see a huge dog, okay? A huge dog. Off leash. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening there? Okay.
And no service dog vest to be seen.
No. And then I see the guy kind of turn back. The dog's not right by the guy, and the guy kind of is like, this way, to the dog. And I'm like, you're just walking around with your huge fucking dog in the grocery store, having it follow you around?
People have lost their goddamn minds.
The confidence.
Well, speaking of this coffee shop, tons of people bring their dogs in, which...
Inside?
Oh, yeah.
It's got to stop.
It's one thing to have like one quiet little dog going in. If you're going in to get something to go, I get that.
But
you're staying. You
inside.
still shouldn't, yes. But like, okay, fine. But when there are so many dogs, and this has happened on more than one occasion, where there's like a kerfuffle happening between the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a dog park now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's time.
You're not supposed to have the dogs inside.
And I did see there specifically one time a guy brought a dog in and was sitting down to have like a full meal and the dog's by his side. And I did see an employee come over and say, you have to take your dog outside. You can't.
And they leave.
Not after going, wait, what? Really? Like,
what are you talking about? This is a restaurant.
Well,
this is the one thing I do want to say to those people, okay? We probably have friends that are these people.
I mean, I could have been this person maybe had there been a fork in the road at some, I don't know.
I want you all to know when you take the dog inside a restaurant.
People have allergies.
I want you to know that at least, at the very minimum, there are 30% of the people in that room judging you and thinking you're an asshole. I just want you to know that at the minimum.
Listen to you.
Okay? No, I just want you to know that. And also, it's just not cool. Now if you have a service animal, that's totally fine.
Obviously.
But also, let's also say this. I think this has gone down, but there was a wave probably about 10 years ago.
Oh, my dog's a service dog. You bought a vest off of eBay, you know.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, obviously that's atrocious behavior.
It's atrocious, but that was very common in LA for a minute. I don't know if it still is, but anyways, I just want those people to know that like it's not like no one cares. It's
okay,
like
let's play the game though of, you know, digging a few levels deeper. Mm-hmm. I can see someone going there with their dog. They're like, oh, okay, I'm going to like tie it up outside for a minute. But there are also people who walk by there frequently with their dogs off leash because they think they're like shepherds or something.
Yeah.
And you run the risk of an off leash dog behaving poorly to your dog that's tied up. That happens all the time.
Sure.
So you're like, oh, wait, but I see like 4 people in line with their dogs in there. Mm-hmm. I guess dogs are cool. And my dog's pretty chill. I know it's not going to be an issue. Like, so there are circumstances where I'm like, you know, if you dig a little deeper, I have empathy for them. They're not playing by the rules, but they don't know that. It's really on the restaurant itself to make it very clear. This one actually does have good signage, so I guess it is a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
But moving past all of this negativity, that grocery store thing is absolutely insane, especially because as someone who has severe allergies to dogs, like I don't want to be looking at tomatoes with a huge dog.
Also, it's like I talked about this a few months ago, the big husky that I saw, its nose go in the baguette thing. You know, it's like the dogs are... If it's a service animal, it's a really well-trained dog. That's one thing, and it's for a very, very good reason. But otherwise, you're trying to tell me your dog's not going to make a mistake. It's not brushing up against the food. Like, nah, get out of here.
Well, and it's always the people who are doing those things, like that guy in the grocery store with his dog trailing him, and the people who think, again, that they're shepherds in the Alps with their dogs off leash in, like, high-traffic city urban areas.
Yeah.
They are the last people I would trust to have a very well-trained dog who will always, without fail, you know, do the command or whatever it is. They are the last ones.
And yet, we find ourselves here today now being curious of what brought them to this point.
Well, there's such an easy way to talk so much shit about people and then go, but you know what? Well, speaking of that, This is another broken record. I have pitched more things. I got some good news, which is great.
Yes.
I have it's a step towards
Love a good
sale.
Love a good step.
So that felt good.
Nice.
It feels good to get some positivity.
Affirmations.
I have friends who have gotten great news in the industry, meaning sales are happening, which feels very uplifting.
Yep.
I did pitch something and I'm still in the waiting period. And I'm trying to navigate this waiting period.
The Waiting Place. Isn't that in that Dr. Seuss book?
Yes, it's
All the places
a terrible
you'll see
place.
or go or whatever?
Yes, I should read that.
Sure, whatever helps.
Oh, the places you'll go.
Yeah.
The Waiting Place is a terrible place. And for me, especially who's like impatient, and you said last night something that was very sweet, but I'm like, you would think by now, after, I don't know, 15 to 20 pitches that have gotten passes, I'd be like almost numb to the waiting. And cynical. And I could kind of do the pitch and then be like, it's not, well, that, by the way, all of these pitches have gone very well.
Yeah.
So I can't trust the interaction and the meeting.
Sure.
And in fact, friends of mine who have sold things, like the one that bought it seemed like the least excited.
You just never know.
You can't tell.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like looking into every single thing, like, well, if we're waiting this many more days, does that mean it's bad news? Wouldn't they want to tell us if it was bad news? I'm going crazy trying to know what is unknowable.
Yeah.
And I really want to find a way to get to the place where I trust. So I gave you my quote yesterday. Less worry, more wonder.
Seems related to your curiosity.
Exactly. I want to be more filled with wonder, whether that's looking at like the tomatoes we planted that are growing like fucking crazy and I'm obsessed with, or the guy whose leg is impinging on my territory and going, what got you here?
Yeah.
2, doing this pitch, being like, I did what I could. I've worked on this for 4 years. It went well. And now, like, I wonder where this is going to lead me. Maybe they won't buy it, but maybe those executives will like think of me for, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they will buy it. But I don't know if it's just protective. I like cannot let myself hope that they're going to buy it, but I really do.
Yeah.
But I have such a sinking feeling that they're not, because maybe that's just like historically what's been happening.
I think it all
See,
makes
I'm
sense.
doing it now.
It all makes sense. I'm saying, what I was saying is I think it's great that you still care. I don't think it's a great thing if you're super cynical about it. You're more cynical now than a newbie getting into the business, which is fine. That's, I think, a helpful amount of cynicism.
Yeah.
But to lose all of it, to like, no, it's cool that you care.
That's true.
I
think that's a lovely way of looking at it.
Can I ask you something about jealousy real quick?
Yes.
Because I've been thinking about that a lot. And I have, a couple weeks ago, I was experiencing an amount of jealousy that I almost couldn't handle. And it was of someone, like, not even, like, related to my field. Like, it was just, it was absurd.
It wasn't career jealousy?
Not really.
Yeah.
But I could kind of tie it to my career, sort of, but not, it wasn't, like, an obvious thing. And I was like, why is this fucking bugging me? I had like a dream about it one night. It was just like taking me over. And then that seems to have like passed. And then last night you and I were joking about some stuff, some kind of jealousy related stuff. That was like, it felt fun to joke about. But I was thinking, and I feel in a very good spot about jealousy and whatnot, but I was thinking about all of us in our careers or in life and different things. We do have these different jealousies with people that probably most of them don't fucking even know about, right?
Sure.
Here's my question to you, okay? We can look at this
two
ways.
I love this topic.
We can look at it two different ways.
Yes.
You've known me for a long time. You can probably think of a handful of people that I've had weird issues with in my mind. Mm-hmm. How would it feel for those people to find out about those jealousies? Do you think they'd be like, oh, that's weird? Or,
no, because
also would they be like, oh, that's flattering?
They have them as well.
With other people, though?
Yeah.
Right, but would they... So in that case, though, would they be like, oh, well, that's nice that someone kind of feels that way about me, right?
I would love to know that someone was so jealous of me that they couldn't sleep.
This is what I want to get to.
Dream of dreams.
But isn't this kind of like a fun spin on it, sort of?
Yes, it's a fun spin.
Hopefully there's someone out there that has some sort of jealousy towards you, let's say, for an example.
Oh my God.
And if you found out, you would feel flattered. And also you would probably be like, and you don't need to feel that way, but that's so sweet of you.
But yes,
right?
I want to hear about it.
Right.
Give me details.
Right. I don't know. So I don't know. I just had never kind of thought of that lens turning really.
Yeah.
And maybe almost that being a device to deal with some of my own feelings.
Yeah. You have a little, sorry, a little spittle.
What do I have, a little spittle?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm good.
Yes. I love that lens. I want to talk about a few ways I try to spin jealousy.
Great.
Similar to that.
Okay.
I think these kind of tricks and tools of your mind, and they all kind of involve, again, looking at it more scientifically. I also find it really interesting. Like, I have one person in my life that when I see a success of theirs, I do feel jealousy.
Oh, yeah, we all have one of those.
But it's interesting that it's that person. Like, it's someone...
That's what I'm saying.
First of all, they're so stratospherically different from me career-wise. Like, you know, the jealousy doesn't even, like, add up anymore.
That's what I'm saying. I have those too. That's why they're so absurd that if the person heard about it, they'd be like, what? Oh, well, that's very nice, but like, but why?
Yeah.
Almost, right?
Yes.
Right.
But in my case, you know, there's an emotional component, and it's same with you, like a kind of personal component.
Yeah, sometimes there can be a personal component.
So, and like when I'm my best self, I'm like rooting for them and their successes, but it's really fake. Like, I feel like
there are some people out there that I can't ever root for their success, and that's a shitty feeling.
Well, here's the other thing I tell myself though. Here's one trick I play on myself when I'm feeling jealousy, because outside of like one or two people who would never in a million years have the opportunity to know or care about my jealousy. Mm-hmm. I'm mostly just jealous of things that are like, you know, like something I would really want. For example, okay, perfect example. I pitched a show 8 years ago that didn't get sold. And then 2 years later, someone I know pitched the exact same show. And it wasn't like the most ingenious thing ever. So it's not surprising that they also thought of this show to pitch. But like the premise was so exactly the same, and they sold it.
Squid Game was yours.
And when I saw Squid Game, and I also was like,
it's a tough pill to swallow. Yeah, no. Global event.
They did sell it. I don't think it really went anywhere, but there was a Deadline article. And so it's more like these little specific things where I feel kind of jealousy. Yeah. My thing is, would I want to switch lives with that person? Meaning, I got to deal with their husband, who's kind of a dick. Their careers are so, like, successful that it seems like you get on that hamster wheel, and I don't know. There are a lot of ways for me to paint the picture where I'm like, I would not want to switch lives with literally anyone on earth. Uh-huh. I love my life. I'm the luckiest. And so you can't have it both ways.
Right.
And then the other thing I think about, one of my first like really intense jealousies was when I was 21. I was taking acting classes here in West Hollywood.
Oh, I think I know this.
And there was a girl in the acting class. I almost am tempted to say her name. Like maybe she would love to hear that I was jealous of her.
No, because your spin on this is kind of.
Oh yeah, great point.
I think you've talked about this on podcast because this is so great that it's like stuck with you over these years. I feel like I'm excited to hear how you present it now. Uh-huh. I feel like someone could go through the archives and probably get like 3 different flavors of the story that probably are like show our age of maturing. But let's hear how you would tell it now.
You're so right. I would be having you bleep out yet another person's name on this episode. Okay. She was beautiful, talented, and she booked like a national commercial that was shooting in Poland or somewhere, and she was getting Taft-Hartley'd into SAG,
What's Taft-Hartley mean?
It's basically like, I don't even know if it still happens. I haven't heard this term in forever, but it meant like SAG was forced to, I'm going to get this wrong. I actually don't know what it means, but the gist was she's joining SAG.
Great.
Like the commercial is casting her. She's joining SAG. They're flying her to Poland. And I was like,
You're giving a lot of specific details.
oh my God.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
was so jealous I couldn't
Yeah.
even see straight.
Yes.
And I was asking her questions, and also she seemed very cool about it. And I was like,
that's cool.
therein lies the difference between me and you. Like, maybe that's why you're having success. But
sometimes it is. I know that's a hard pill to swallow,
well,
but
I want to talk about that next.
Okay.
So she then came back and like booked a role in a film and like the lead of a film and I was like, she has made it. She's basically Meryl Streep now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to make it, blah, blah, blah. Now, I look back on that time. Here, stay with me, please. I look back on that time and I go, had I had that trajectory, I don't know that I would have gone to New York. I don't know that I would have met you. I wouldn't have my kids.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have probably become a writer full on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had the career I've had, which is, nothing to sniff at. I'm pretty proud of it. It's also not like I'm, the Queen of England or anything, but
The Queen of England, huh? That's what you're going with.
you know what I mean. I'm not Shonda Rhimes.
Sure.
Nor do I necessarily want to be. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, she did that film and then I think stepped out of the industry. And
okay.
I don't know why. I don't know if she came to the conclusion it wasn't right for her, which also maybe was why she got these jobs. She was like, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wow. Nice.
So I also wanted to say, to your point, the people who are take it or leave it, maybe getting jobs, I'm trying to be way more chill.
Yeah.
As though I can secret a green light from this pitch.
Yeah.
Like, I hate the idea that the way I'm thinking about it could have something to do with how it turns out. And like the guilt of going, you're not being positive enough. You're not being you're not putting it on your, proverbial vision board enough or whatever.
I do think that there is a ton of empirical evidence that The Secret is 100% real, okay?
Empirical evidence? Okay.
But I think it only works. It doesn't
if you
work.
have magazine articles that you can cut out and glue
It only works
on.
if you have a real proper vision board.
Okay.
And you follow instructions. No, it only works. Sorry, let me take that again. It does not work post-event. Okay? You going into pitch a television show. Okay? You walk out, you get in your car, you drive home. You're at home now. I do not think your thoughts from that moment on change anything. Now, can your energy in the room and your confidence, which I think that's maybe secrety, and again, I'm joking, I don't believe in The Secret.
Well, that's...
but I do believe in that. You being in the room and you going in being like, I want to fucking sell this thing. This show's awesome. I'm going to sell it. That energy, that attitude, I do think is important. But what happens after... You're not changing the course of events. I don't think so.
I can't blow like a dandelion seed and then it like hits a butterfly and the butterfly does this and then does that and then it changes the course of...
Yeah, it can't be like you can't go in the backyard and be like, if I don't make 10 basketball baskets in a row, the pitch is not selling.
I start to think that way.
I know, because it's fun to do that.
And also,
but
I mentioned this last week, the day after the pitch, which is usually when you would hear if it were like an immediate yes, and it's been many days since then, there was a ladybug in our kitchen. Do you feel like me talking about it is bad?
No. My face was just that. I almost like accidentally killed it. Remember I had like a weird shout, like some weird thing happened?
Well, if you had killed it, it would have really kind of given me a heads up because I have a thing with ladybugs. And I even think I talked about it with a pitch I did a long time ago, like had I seen a ladybug that day, it would have been XYZ. The first time I ever sold anything, I was in my car waiting to hear, so nervous. And I got the call in my car. And as they were telling me that they were buying it, a little ladybug was walking along the like ledge next to the window. And so ladybugs feel significant to me. But now I'm like, I feel like too much time has passed since the ladybug came. I thought the ladybug was my parents sending a little like, hey.
Right.
But then I'm like, maybe they're doing that to say, hey, it's all going to be okay. Even if it's a pass, don't worry about it. But the good news to your point is I always go into a pitch thinking it's going to go my way.
Great.
It's very weird.
That's the most
And
important
then the second
part.
It's over, like the fucking spiral begins.
Yeah.
And then I'm nervous to see my producer's name on my phone, calling, you know, all of those moments. I'm almost like, I can't even handle it.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think the balls are so big that you just have to put your legs that wide?
I mean, it also kind of goes to the like Lamborghini dude where the you know, the stereotype is he has a little package and stuff.
Because I don't think when you see the spread and you
it's almost like the spread is overcompensating, like you're acting like you have some huge junk.
I don't.
By the way, the guys that I'm like, oh, he probably has a huge stick,
yeah,
are never man spreading.
Well, the thing about man spreading is when you see a man spread, usually, you showed me one recently in like a photo or something. To me, it looks uncomfortable because your pants get so tight in the crotch area if you do a big spread. So I'm like, that doesn't seem comfortable.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways.
Something to wonder. More wonder, less worry.
I got a lot of nipple wonder on the brain right now, thanks to you.
I'm always surprised by nipples, which I'm like, what's the deal? Am I also that far off on, you know, men?
Oh, when you're seeing nipples out in the wild?
Well,
You're not really seeing them often, are you, these days?
I see a good amount of nipples, like, you know.
Where?
Well, the same girls' weekend at the cabin where we were tooting. We also like all took a good look at each other's boobs.
Okay. Interesting.
Anyway, and it's always kind of a like, oh, who knew? All of us have great boobs.
Yeah.
We've decided. Now I hope I went last, and I hope I hope that it wasn't just kind of we now have to say hers are great too.
Was anyone making fun of each other's boobs?
No.
Was there any joking?
No, it was all, well, we were all laughing, especially one of my friends was doing it fully and it was like dusk and our slider door, you know?
Yeah.
The curtains were open. She was, had him out for a while and we were marveling and like very good.
Tell me more.
And then we realized that there were like roofers on the cabin right across the street.
Wow.
And I was like, what a gift for those.
Such a gift.
For those young men.
Such a gift. I'm all scrambled. Nipples. What were we talking about?
Oh.
What were we talking about right before the nipples?
Like The Secret and stuff?
No, where you're seeing nipples. I asked, where are you seeing the nipples?
You brought up man spreading again. And like.
Oh, no, this is what I was going to say. The idea of like me and my friends being up at the cabin and being like, let's all look at each other's dicks would be such a traumatic fucking experience because we would all be so mean and like, do you know what I mean? It would, and then it would go on forever. Like we would all have new nicknames from there on out, probably. You know, my buddy Josh, one time we were peeing similar. He once said I had a sloppy penis and I remember it. And he still sometimes says, well, you know, you're the one with the sloppy penis. And it was because he looked at my penis and he judged it and he named it that. Right.
Uh-huh.
And to imagine if all of us were.
It's such a. It's really funny.
But like to imagine if all of us were doing that and then like it would escalate, I think, so quickly and get so mean and funny at the same time. But what a disaster.
I mean, this is one of those times I'm so happy to be a woman, which amongst women, it's so easy to be happy to be a woman amongst women. It's what makes it hard being a woman, honestly, is mostly men. But our like time together, I mean, this was over like wine and crudité and like a charcuterie. And we also, I can't see you and your friends down on the floor farting. Like,
oh, that's... we would be down on the floor lighting farts on...
Oh,
why
that's
can't you
true.
see that?
Okay, yeah.
We might not be on all fours with our tits hanging out, but...
we weren't on all fours.
You said you were on all fours tooting last episode.
Tooting, but not with our tits out. Our tits out was more of a museum experience.
I'm listening.
Tits up, bottoms down. I don't know. Anyway, so...
You guys weren't looking at Bush too, were you?
No.
Okay,
And it was like...
I just want to make sure.
Again,
yeah.
It's not sexual at all for us. It was really, truly just like admiring what everyone's working with. And everyone, and I hope that I was too...
What?
Included in, everyone had a really good situation going on.
Oh, are you fishing right now? Because you have nothing to worry about.
No, I'm
you
not.
got
Don't say.
nothing to worry
I'm
about.
not fishing.
Great tits.
Okay. Can we change? Can we like really pivot? Can we like bring up something totally? Do you have anything you want to talk about? You don't have a thing?
No, I'm really excited for, I guess this episode will come out after the 4th of July, but I'm excited to see my best friend from high school I haven't seen in years. We're going to be hanging out with them up in the mountains. I'm excited about that. Today feels very festive. I'm excited to be festive.
Yeah.
It also feels very summery.
Yes.
Maybe feels a little too hot, like the world is ending a little bit,
Well,
which is a little scary. But
things do feel a little bit like the world is ending.
do you hear that?
Don't they?
That big hurricane, the horrible hurricane, is like also the earliest hurricane of the season
Well,
ever.
stuff is going real bad in terms of the earth and whatnot. Obviously, we don't really talk about politics that much, but I do want to say, you and I watched every second of that debate.
Oh, yeah.
We ordered Shake Shack, as we do for debates, because it's the thing that makes us feel as bad on the inside as we feel like emotionally. And whoa, what
That
a
was
doozy.
a crazy debate.
That was a crazy one. And then the France shit that's going down.
Oh, also there's crazy UK stuff going down
What's
right
going
now.
on? I don't even know
They have
about
some wild
this.
election stuff happening too. I need to learn a little more about it. The Supreme Court thing.
Oh, yeah. Trump's now king.
Yeah.
Which is
You
really...
know, technically, though, with this decision, Biden's king right for the moment. They made it very clear. So it's like, Biden, why don't you do some crazy shit right now?
Because he can't even fucking lift his arms up to, like, comb his hair. God love you. Anyway, I'm really concerned about, like, that our generation, like, things are going to end for us during... Our lifetime is going to be the last time there's a lifetime for humans for a very long time, because Earth is just going to like fall apart and crumble. All of these dictators are taking control. All of the like, there's going to be wealth disparity like we can't even fathom. There's going to be horrors, huge wars, nukes, all of that on top of climate change. Like, bye-bye, we're all done. So
Nukes.
That's what I'm a little concerned about right now. So, more, but going back to less worry and more wonder.
You wonder what's going to happen.
I do wonder what's going to happen.
Why worry?
I'm
Why not
wondering
wonder?
with bated breath. But I do want to say, this is all obviously literal doom and gloom. I also hope this is kind of a death rattle for
Democracy?
extremism. No, like it's really hopefully going to light a fire under, I feel like, people who have been assuming that equality and like our way of life is the status quo.
Yeah.
Need to wake the fuck up and realize no, and like get out and vote and make your voice heard because the other side is very loud.
Yeah.
I did see something that was very alarming, which was like the first step of Hitler doing what he did. It was essentially what our Supreme Court just did, which is like taking away all checks and balances.
Yeah. Yeah, and basically, if you don't know, the Supreme Court just had a ruling that grants presidents quite a bit of immunity, which seems very much linked to Trump and is hard to deny that it's not linked to Trump.
Well,
but they tried to make it very clear that this wasn't for Trump. But it's like, oh, this seems like it was for Trump. But
this is what we get, by the way.
It leads us more to like a monarchy type situation than what our current system is.
We didn't do a good enough job. I mean, that's the thing is like the Democrats, the Democratic Party needs to get its shit together. It might be too late.
I was listening to one news thing about this ruling and like what they were trying to put past presidential events into the context if this was the law then, and like they were looking at Watergate, what would have this meant for Nixon and stuff like that, you know what I mean? It was just like kind of interesting. It's like, oh man, things are really changing.
And then those two justices, God, I hate to wish anything upon anyone, but truly, like,
why don't you just wonder what might happen?
I wonder what might happen. But these are situations I think about where I'm like, oh, I don't even want to say it. Anyway, so, prepare yourselves to vote and to encourage others to vote. And obviously, I will vote for a Weekend at Bernie's, like, physical body that is the arms being waved by another person puppeting a physical body.
Oh, such a good movie. Andrew McCarthy in that movie is just a delight.
I wonder if it holds up. That would be a fun movie to rewatch.
I used to watch that so much. Me and my buddy Pat would watch that movie a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's fun.
It's a fun summer movie. The beginning of it, there's like a great scene where they're walking through Central Park and this guy hops out to mug him. And Andrew McCarthy's like, it's too fucking hot, and just brushes the mugger away, and they keep walking forward.
Oh, that's fun.
And the mugger's just like stunned, like, oh,
stunned.
Confidence.
Yeah, confidence. So,
And then the guy's like dead, but they're like puppeting him.
Did you ever watch the movie Summer School?
Yeah, for sure. I bet you liked that. Well, I know you liked that Mark Harmon in the movie. What is it?
Stealing Home.
What was the actress in Summer School, though? The really attractive actress.
Let's look her up.
Did they kind of have a weird chemistry in that movie? Was that inappropriate in that movie? Ooh, I had a crush on her. She went on to do a bunch of stuff, right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Christy Alley?
No, not Christy Alley.
Okay.
She was the surfer girl in it.
Courtney Thorne-Smith.
Yeah, Courtney Thorne-Smith.
She
was on like Melrose Place maybe after that?
Yes. What a great... I don't remember much about that film except I was like, ooh, the beach. I mean, I think that might have had some influence over me going to UC Santa Barbara.
What about One Wild and Crazy Summer?
My mom's cancer and dying had more of an influence. What?
One Wild and Crazy Summer with Demi Moore.
Never saw it.
Goldthwait. What?
And I also never saw that movie that's a classic where Denise Richards and another hot woman are like in a lagoon or something.
Oh, yeah. That's like not
Wild Things or something.
You bet.
I haven't seen that.
We should watch that some night.
We're never going to watch any of these.
Well, why wouldn't we watch Weekend at Bernie's?
Because we don't watch movies unless it's with the kids.
We watch YouTube now.
We're YouTube consumers.
Okay, do you want to hear something?
I'm nervous.
You should be. Remember the other day I put in an earring? I've had my ear pierced since 5th grade.
Yeah.
You're not the biggest fan of the earring. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I put it on because one of my friends was like, it's a nice signal to the queer community that I like, hey, I'm cool. I'm not just like some dumb white guy. You know what I mean? Because I'm a very regular looking white guy.
I just want to be clear. Mm-hmm. A friend of yours wasn't like, hey, you know what? You need to adopt some signal because the way you look is not helping you. So
well,
the truth is that we were like, somehow it came up. I don't know why you so like proudly told our kids that you had it done in 5th grade at Jackie Grable's house.
Shout out Jackie Grable.
You know, and I was like, let's not glorify that behavior.
Because you think
and I
it's
said, Daddy
naughty.
was a bad boy.
I was a bad boy.
You were. I don't want our kids going and, you know, mutilating their bodies at friends' houses. And that just wouldn't even happen anymore. But
put it that way.
Anyway, and so then I was like, when's the last time you put an earring in? I was the one who went and got my earring and I put it in. And I find that satisfying also because it's been years and years and years.
Yeah.
There's like gunk that comes out with it, which is so fun to me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and then you wore the earring for a while. Mm-hmm. And then you happen to take the kids to the mall.
Our daughter loved the earring.
Yes, she found it fun. And so, but it was my earring and I wanted it. Mm-hmm. And so you took the kids to the mall. And so you got a little like
tiny hoop.
Very cheap.
Yeah.
Clearly looks very cheap, ugly, tiny hoop. And so then you were wearing it when you saw your friend, and your friend who is in the LGBTQ community was like, hey, I really like that. And here's an added bonus.
Yes. Then I had a session with another artist that's in that community as well. So we're all together and it's being explained, you know, Andy had this earring and wasn't that fun. I didn't have it in that day. But then, so my other friend was like, oh, you know what I could see on you? And they were like, little nose ring. And I was like, I've always wanted a nose ring. Remember? We've talked about this every time I bring it up. You poo it. Remember we were talking about Lewis Hamilton's nose ring and a long time ago?
Maybe, but you saying I've always wanted is like... I've never heard you mention it. Maybe when Lewis Hamilton came up.
Yeah.
It's not like something that you've wanted to the degree that I've heard anything about.
Well, I've always wanted one. And then for someone to tell me, they're like, that would be good on you. But I know.
Oh, can I say a few things?
Yeah, please.
First of all, like there are some people that nose rings are good on.
Okay.
It's not you. Like that person.
Tell me why.
Well, you already talk about your nose. You're wondering if it's, you've asked me many times, is it like, does it not fit your face? Is it too big? Is it blah, blah, blah?
Okay, yeah.
That's just like putting an ornament on it.
Yeah.
I find it like so pathetic. I mean, the earring was one thing, but for a 45-year-old man
well, this is what I want to talk about.
Doing this to himself, to like try to grasp like with his old... arthritic hands to some semblance of cool.
No, well, this is the thing. This is what I wanted to get to because it's not lost on me. Okay. The idea of me getting a nose ring and then literally like having to explain it to all of our friends when I saw them, like, oh yeah, I always wanted to like it is absurd for someone my age.
So humiliating.
Well, that's I know, but it's. Yeah, it's crazy.
And also the other thing about nose rings.
Tell me.
I mean, they are very popular right now. And I think that on some people they look beautiful. But having gotten 2 dolphins 69ing my tailbone to honor my parents, which is a place that, thank God, doesn't see much sunlight. The nose ring is like... such a welcome mat to your whole essence. And it might go out of style the way plucking eyebrows did, the way so many things have come and gone. And when you take a nose ring out, because that's cartilage, the odds of it fully kind of going back to what it was are low. And sometimes it's a little discolored. So that's another thing just to think about. But having said all of that, I also think it looks very cool on like age appropriate people. And, you know, but what I wanted to say to you, Andy, is two things. Mm-hmm. And they might contradict each other.
Great. You're a contradiction. You're enigma. That's it.
One is, okay, they totally contradict each other. But one is that I want to say, I think the way you dress and carry yourself and are doesn't seem like, you know, you're not, LGBTQ friendly or cool. Like, you do have a cool vibe about you. You're a record producer. You live in East LA. You know, it's different from
most of
like
my record producer peers, though, I would say have a much more more personality to their style and flair.
Okay, so this is the thing I was going to say that contradicts it. I feel like you and I also have taken pride in being just who we are, even though they're like definitely in your industry, especially. I could see, sometimes those people that is their style, but there is also this like, I'm trying to look cool so that I am perceived as cool, so that I'm accepted as cool. And I've always admired that you're just who you are. And it's like, I'm a guy from Idaho, who does this, and the music speaks for itself. I don't need to like try to be all cool. I imagine a lot of these artists go to work with producers who are like, have kind of a, I don't know, and can kind of be not as warm and welcoming because they're like so focused on trying to come across as cool.
I do think I've been getting more comfortable in my age and all of this, and I think way more so than I would have ever predicted, of just being like, oh, I am the old guy in the room, but like, hey, guess what? I can hang, and I'm not really trying to be that cool.
Hey, guess what?
but we're like making cool stuff, and I've been.
But do you guys like this nose ring?
Well, I know it's a goddamn it's a mind fuck. But like, I am surrounded quite often with people that it doesn't, like, when we all go out to lunch, people are probably like, what the fuck is that guy doing there? You know what I mean? But I'm more comfortable in that. And I think as I get older and older, it's almost cooler and cooler in a weird way.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. we got to the bottom of it.
I'm not going to pierce my nose, but I might wear my little hoop every now and again in my ear.
That's fine. I just want you to know it looks like a piece of plastic because it is.
Oh, maybe I need to I know the kind that I want.
Okay. I would at least get like a nicer looking situation.
You know what kind I really want, which I used to have in my youth? It's like the kind that it's a hoop, a silver hoop, but it's really thin and it's all just one piece of a thing. Do you know what I'm saying? But get like a nice one of those.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Great. Well, good luck on that journey. That I won't be like, I similarly think that it looks a little like silly because it's just not you, and it does feel like
I had an earring most
I'm
of
the
my
one who
youth.
started this whole thing. It wouldn't have even come up. I don't know. It all just seems, it's not anywhere near as embarrassing as a nose ring, but it's a little bit embarrassing in the sense of like, it feels like you're kind of the opposite of what we were just saying, is like, it's cool to me that you're not trying hard to come across as something.
I think the nose ring gets into that crazy territory. Mm-hmm. But I think
to me, the earring does as well, but you do you.
Yeah.
And I'll,
Did you ever date anyone with gauges?
Yes.
Okay, let's end there.
Good night.
Good night.